Good evening, YouTube, and welcome back to Phatkat Collections. And tonight, I just want to do just a discussion video about a channel and a discussion on that channel that got brought to my attention by one of my subscribers who's been a huge fan, huge advocate for giving brands of all different values and quality recognition and, of course, respect. You know, I think that collecting watches is a fantastic hobby. Not only is it fun to collect and build your collection, but it's also fun to wear these. And a watch is really an accessory. Now, everybody's going to wear a watch for different reasons. Some people are going to wear it, again, as an accessory, which is why I wear it. Other people wear it for the main reason, only to tell time. They aren't really too concerned with the way it looks. Other people are more interested in the art of horology and what has gone into making that watch and maybe the history behind a brand. Whatever the reason that you collect watches or that you want to wear a watch, I think is great as long as you're respectful of others and respectful of the things that other people like. I've always come out and said, and I get a lot of flack from actually a lot of knuckleheads that just stop because they know they will never win me over with the whole argument that it's worth it to spend $8,000 to $10,000 on a Rolex watch, that you're really getting that amazing quality that just blows everything out of the water. It's just completely, in my opinion, absurd. And it's like these folks, you'll never convince them otherwise, like they'll never convince me otherwise. And you know, even though there are guys on here who own both watches who will tell you that the differences are there differences, yes, but they're so subtle that you really have to know what you're looking for. And the argument always comes down to these snobs referring to brands like Invicta, Aragon, Citizen, whatever the brand may be, as shitters. And it's unfortunate because these brands are not shitters. There's different price points, and they always will try to paint the picture. Well, I think it's good to get involved in an Invicta watch or some of these entry-level watches, or I shouldn't say entry-level, I should say affordably priced watches, realistically priced watches, because it gets them into the art horology and it's a stepping stone. I'll never consider an Invicta a stepping stone because that's my rock right there. There is no other stone. I'll never want to have a Rolex. Now, if I go win the lotto for $100 million and I can just piss money away on whatever I want, then you know what? I probably would have one in my collection because I like watches. There's lots of watches that have Jacob & Company watches. I mean, they make some amazing pieces, but would I rationalize ever, if I had that much money, ever spending, you know, $100,000 on a watch? Never. And that's why even with like a regular middle class lifestyle, you know, I would never rationalize spending $5,000 on a Rolex. It doesn't do anything for me to rationalize that cost. I'd rather the $150 or $100 Pro Diver, and again, I have one Pro Diver, I have a Grand Diver, and again, it's not even my style. I bought it really as just a work watch, and it's something I can just wear and not really be too concerned with, and then wear like my reserve time pieces, like beautiful Aragon watches like this, you know, when I'm going out to get something to eat, or just, you know, wearing whenever I go somewhere. But ultimately, you know, I just really wear, now I just don't even care. I wear these watches, you know, work and play. Now, if I'm going to go out and work on my car, I'm not going to wear a watch, period. Even a really inexpensive watch, a $10 watch, I'm not going to wear. I'd rather just take it off. There's no reason I have to have a watch on my wrist. I'm going to be doing something where I could potentially scratch or damage the watch, regardless of cost. So again, coming back to some of these snob channels. My buddy, and we don't know each other in real life, but on the internet, Syndicated Satellite, he started a watch channel, just starting to get rolling. It takes time, but I enjoy listening to some of his videos, and I encourage you guys to check out his channel. He's very realistic when it comes, we kind of see eye to eye when it comes to bang for your buck and what you get for your money. And, you know, I've always said that, you know, and again, I'm not just like an Invicta, you know, I love Invicta's the only watch for me. You know, like I said, I have Aquadai, Visser, Bulova, Sterling, Alexander, I mean, tons of Kickstarter different watches, Neimars, BLWRX, Bolin Watchworks, Casio, Seiko, Armatron, Diesel. You know, I have lots of watches. Some of those watches are in the $100 what they would consider fashion watches. I consider all watches fashion watches because I personally wear watches as a fashion accessory. So whether I'm wearing my $2,000 Aquadive, again, very expensive watch, ETA ETA 2824-2, very well respected, expensive movement that's put in a lot of watches that are in the $1,000 price range and up. So the watch snobs really can't say much about that, because that movement's very well respected. And then, you know, even a Seiko NH35 is a well-respected movement. So really, ultimately, you know, it really comes down to what a person likes, what their main reason behind. There's nothing wrong with buying a watch for, if you love a $8,000 Rolex watch and you love the way it makes you feel and you love the way it looks in your wrist, you love the story behind Rolex and the quality that goes into making it Rolex. But, you know, nowadays, Rolexes are mass-produced watches. They're not some handmade, beautiful piece of art. They're a heavily marked up, high quality, mass-produced watch. That's the bottom line. And I don't care who says what. That is it's a very popular watch. They sell thousands of watches, and you know it's a popular watch. But again, for me, I would never rationalize spending the money on that. And some of the idiots will come back and be, oh, because you can't afford it. I can afford to buy a Rolex watch if I wanted one. I don't want one. Period. 150 watches in my collection, guys. Do the math. Yeah, I could have a Rolex. Okay, I hate having to come out and say that, but that's the facts. I mean, and anybody, a Rolex is not some unobtainable item. If you want to buy one, you can either buy one cash, or if it means enough to you, you can spend $5,000 to $10,000 and finance one. It just depends on what's important to you. Now, for me, again, not my thing. Now, on to the discussion. Going to this channel called Watch Reviews. This is the guy behind this channel, and he did a video the other day about the Invicta Pro Diver watch review. And the thing is, he doesn't even have the watch, period. He's never even owned the watch, never had hands on the watch, but he's basically stating in his video, and he wasn't bashing apart the watch. I think he has one coming in the mail, so I'm curious to see what he's going to say about it. But in his video, he basically, and this is the guy behind this channel, his name's John McManus. And this is my understanding basically from what people have commented on my channel and told me about this guy. He actually started a Kickstarter funded project for McManus watches. And there's been some YouTubers who have actually got their hands on this to review. And what's interesting to me is that basically, without going, you know, carrying on for too long here, and I'll put a link to in the video to two different in the description, two different videos. One about some more information about John McManus from, believe it or not, Christopher over It's Complicated. Me and Christopher do not see eye to eye. We are like rivals. But he brings up some really valid points about John McManus and some of the issues that people have had with the Kickstarter launch of his brand. I'm not going to say whether it was a scam. I'm not going to say whether or not, because I honestly don't know. But I encourage you to watch his video from some of the research he did about John McManus. There's also some giveaways that got brought to my attention on John McManus watch reviews. And after that, once he got to 1,000 subscribers, I guess, supposedly he changed the name to just Watch Reviews. What's also interesting about his channel is that most of the watch reviews, he does not actually holding the watches and reviewing them. It's a picture of the watch that on somebody else's wrist, or it's a picture off the internet, and he basically gives his opinion about them. So nothing really hands-on, and I do believe that you do have to have some hands-on with some watches. And you guys might come back and be like, well, you don't have a Rolex. Well, I have handled many Rolexes and had my hands on many. I've been into many different places and looked at Rolexes. Again, for me, not my thing, okay? And I watched a lot of other guys review them, and a lot of guys have said the same thing about about Rolex and a lot of luxury brands, is that in order for you to tell the difference between a $400 noob fake and the real deal $8,000 one of the, you know, a Submariner, it's very difficult to tell. And I've always said, if it's easy to replicate, it wasn't that special in the first place. Now, is there a difference? Yes. When you crack that back open, is there a difference in the movement? Yes. But ultimately, these fakes are getting better and better. And for anybody to really think that by you spending $5,000 to $8,000 just to get your feet wet with a Rolex watch, to think that that watch is superior, so superior to an Invicta Pro Diver with an NH35 Seiko movement, is it a better watch? Of course it is. A lot more went into making that watch than, of course, the Invicta, okay? Obviously. But no way is the quality of that watch worth that much more. You can't rationalize spending that much more on that watch. And the argument these guys have, that these snobs have, and this is the false argument here, this is completely false, is that when you hold a Rolex in your hand, you hold an Invicta Pro Diver, and I'm just using Invicta, any watch, let's say under $1,000, any watch, when you hold those watches, but let's just use Invicta because that's what we're talking about, that it's going to be a night and day difference in quality, that you're going to pick it up and be like, oh my God, yeah, wow. And that's simply not the case. Is the Rolex a better made watch? Absolutely. Does more time and effort and more precision go into making a Rolex? Absolutely. But I'll never rationalize spending $8,000 for a watch that you can get something very similar as far as looks and quality. Honestly, I mean, if you're talking about quality, what does quality really mean? It means the watch will outlast, one product will outlast another. That's really what it's made with quality for longevity. And ultimately, there's no guarantees on which one's going to last longer. I've heard horror stories about Rolex. I've heard horror stories about Invicta. It really comes down to luck. Now, with Rolex, you want to pay $600 every couple of years to have it serviced? Yeah, it's probably going to last you longer. If you service any watch, it's probably going to last you longer. But I can assure you that the bang for your buck that you get with a lot of brands, but because we're talking about Invicta really is, you get the most bang for your buck. And anybody who picks up an Invicta watch and says, oh, it's a piece of shit and this is just garbage, is just a liar. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Now, I'm not saying there aren't entry-level Invictas in the $40 to $70 price range that there's a noticeable difference even between those and an Invicta Reserve or a lot of the Aragon watches or a Bulva. Yes, I have a very entry-level Invicta, and there is a difference in the price. Is it a piece of shit? I don't think so. I think it's a decent watch for what you're paying. If you paid $300 for it, would I consider it a ripoff? Absolutely. But for what you're paying for a lot of the Invicta watches, if you're a smart shopper, and you take advantage of some of the yellow tag events and just some of the links that I put up on my channel. I mean, the yellow tag deals are insane. I mean, some of the watches even I paid $400 for when they were harder to get, you can get for like $118. So it is amazing. Nobody can touch them as far as the bang for buck. And that's, again, it is my opinion, but I have a lot of watches in my arsenal. I'm a watch like addict. And I'm always looking, I'm always touching, I'm always feeling, I'm always talking, discussing. And I just, frankly, it's really difficult for me to ever rationalize buying another brand because it's just, if you know, you're going to spend $300 on, I mean, I've seen some great Citizens that look really cool and some other Bulivas. I have a Precisionist. I love the Precisionist. But when you look at what, you know, a Precisionist costs, luckily you can get them around for about $280, but you know, on their website they're like $700. You go into like a jewelry store in the mall, so you're gonna pay $650, $700 for them. When you and even my Aquadive, when you feel the Aquadive, the Visser watch, it was $800. You know, these watches that I have that are what they consider higher tier, you know, better made, you know, micro brand watches. I mean, there's no difference between the manufacturing, the quality of the build compared to my Grand Diver, any reserve timepiece. It's just a fact, you know. So coming back again to John McManus, he basically did a video about how Invicta watches are really just good for a stepping stone to go into your next tier, and that's simply false. Lots of people buy Invicta watches because they love the brand. And then he says anybody who reviews them, and I encourage you to watch this video because I'm just kind of trying to draw back from what I heard him say this morning. But he basically makes a statement along the lines that people who are reviewing Invicta watches out there, and very overgeneralized, are people who are basically getting, like he mentioned, the Urban Gentry, are getting, and Urban Gentry never received an Invicta watch for free. He purchased a watch through Amazon. And he reviewed the watch, and even in his video, he stated that it's better than a lot of Seikos he's seen, and that it's not bad. It wasn't a bad watch. Is it a Rolex? No. You know, is it the precision? You know, in a Rolex? No. But again, he loves Rolex watches as well. My opinion, you know, for me, for what I like, again, the price point, you know, I guess in a perfect world, if we could take those watches side by side and compare a Rolex to Invicta, and somebody were to say, hey, these are the same price, you know, why don't you pick out which one's nicer? I would still have a hard time picking out which one has a better build quality, but I would hope that that Rolex, there would be something about it that would really make me say, oh, this is the better watch. And there probably is some things on there that really would make me say that, but again, it's always in the back of my mind how much it costs and how much of a ripoff I think they are. And then, with John McManus, he had mentioned that, Urban Gentry, basically a company will pay, X amount of dollars to review the watch. They get a free watch, and refers to people who review Invicta watches as shills. Now, I have never received a free Invicta watch in my life. Are there? And I've been upfront with everybody on YouTube. I mean, I mention it every time when I mention a sponsored video, and I hope that you guys would know when I say this is a sponsored video or sponsored this company Neymar or this company LifeX, or actually LifeX never sponsored me, but whatever brand I may review, I always mention and I thank the company for their generosity and sending me a product to review. And that's how YouTube influencers work. You get a product to review, a company wants to work with you. Sometimes there is a fee involved for it's advertising. It's just like watching TV, guys. There's no difference. The difference is how each YouTuber runs their channel. If I get a product, and again, you're taking my word for it, but that's what matters is the people who have subscribed. If you're one of the 14,600 who have subscribed, you like what I have to say, and you trust that I'm being honest with my reviews. The moment that somebody says, I'm not buying that, you could easily unsubscribe. We could easily go our separate ways. There's nothing keeping anybody from being subscribed to a channel. So I do what I do, and if people like it, then they subscribe. And now I'm going to keep doing it. I'm not going to change how I do my videos. I don't edit, I don't cut, I don't do any fancy commercials or any fancy intros. I just basically talk how I talk in real life, and as if me and my audience, we are sitting here having a coffee, shooting the shit and discussing, a particular brand or topic. That's it. Really straightforward, very simple. I like to keep that way. It allows me to pump out videos very fast. It allows me to speak my mind whenever I feel like speaking my mind, whether it be about a product or a discussion. That's just how I choose to run my channel. If I get a sponsorship deal with a company, they say, hey, we liked your, like Bolin Watchworks. I've worked with them for a couple years now. Every now and then they'll come out a new watch. They're like, hey, would you feature on the channel? I say absolutely. But first and foremost, no matter what happens with that product gets a honest, fair review. If it's a really bad product, if somebody sends me a watch or a product that's, a $500 watch, right? Let's just say it's a $500 watch and it's absolutely horrendous. I'm not going to come on here and tell you guys how wonderful the watch is and why you should buy it. I'm going to be like, hey, you can get a much better value with Invicta. But that doesn't, again, watches, there's a lot of markup in watches. I mean, Invicta is one of the few brands that doesn't mark, now, yes, I know the MSRP is ridiculous, but nobody actually pays that. If you're an educated shopper and you're not stupid and you do your homework, you know what these go for. If you're an Invicta collector, you know what's, after you get your first few Invicta watches, you know what's fair. And I'm sorry, but if you're the type of person who sees an infomercial on TV or sees, and I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, but if you're the type of person who goes on the internet and sees an Invicta watch, like, oh man, I really want to get that. Oh man, it's this price, and you just buy it without doing any research whatsoever, then that's on you. That's not on anybody else, because nobody sold you. Nobody is there giving you a high pressure sales tactic. You're not face to face with the person. It's different, like going to a car lot, going to a place where there's a salesman. Sometimes people can get pressured. You can get sold. You like the person talking about it. With the internet, it's very simple. You could easily be like, I'm not ready. Click. End of it. That's the end of it. You can come back and decide to window shop when you feel like. So it's a much different experience shopping for things online. And if you make the mistake of spending a whole bunch of money on a product, whatever that product may be, and you get burned, if you pay MSRP on anything, you're paying too much. MSRP is a manufacturer suggested retail price. Most products don't sell for MSRP. They sell for under. Just like when you go into a car lot, most people, if you pay MSRP for a car, you paid too much, okay? And Rolex is one of the few brands that are selling for more than MSRP. So let's really be honest about the ripoff. Who's getting burned on that? So that's just my opinion. I think that people who review watches, you have to take each person with a grain of salt, take what they say with a grain of salt, and take them for their word, and make the decision as a thinking human being, whether or not you believe the person, whether or not you like watching the person, whether or not you're gonna make a purchase. When I put a link in my description, a lot of those links are affiliate links. And if you like my content, and you say, man, you know, I like that watch. He's passionate about this brand. He's passionate about this camera. He's passionate about this pair of jeans, this leather jacket. He's happy with it. He likes it. And you decide you want to add that to your life and have that as part of your collection or your wardrobe or your home, whatever it may be, and you decide to purchase it. If you do it through my links and you like what I have to say and you found value in what I have to say, it's like anything else. It's called commission. When you go into buy a car, or buy a house, why is it always okay for a person to sell a house and get commission, but it's not okay for a YouTube influencer who takes the time to make a video, share that video, talk about it? It's a part-time job. I mean, in some cases, it's a full-time job, depending on what you do for your main job, depending on your subscriber count, depending on your channel. There's lots of YouTubers that is a full-time job. And what is wrong? If you find value in something that somebody has said, you know, hey, I like this product, you find value in what a YouTube influencer has to say, and you want to make a purchase and you buy it, it doesn't cost you anything to go ahead and use that link to give them commission on it. Now, it's different if they sell you and then you get that product and you say, what a piece of garbage. But let's face it, if you buy through eBay or Amazon or most websites that are linked in any YouTuber's account, any YouTuber's description, there's very few websites or businesses out there that don't have a return policy. They don't have easy return. You want to buy an Invicta watch through my links through Shop HQ? They have easy return label. You get it, you don't like it, you find a better deal, you can return it. I mean, for free. It doesn't cost you anything. Invicta store, same thing. You click my link, you go to there, you don't like it, you can return it. You know, you find a better deal, you can return it. There's nothing locking people. Amazon, eBay, it's all the same. You're not. It's not like somebody. You're not. It's not like a lot of these guys think on YouTube that if you have any kind of agreement with a company to help them get brand recognition or to review their product, that somehow you're being dishonest, you're being deceitful. Well, how about the guy who sells you a car? You know, now again, if like that movie Used Cars, you know, there are extremes in every business, in every job. You could deal with a great salesman who sold you and, you know, end up selling you something that if a guy's selling a car, right, and he knows it's just a piece of junk, and he knows that car has all kinds of problems, and he lies right to the customer buys the car, and then has all kinds of problems with it, finds out that all these things were wrong with it, the salesman told him a totally different story, or just like a house, anything that, then you can blame the salesman. But ultimately, everybody is just, you know, if somebody sells a house, they're taking the time to show you the house, to answer your questions, to help you make the best purchase that's going to fit your wants and needs and make you happy. And there's nothing wrong with that in my eyes. What there is wrong with is people who don't know what they're talking about, who put up videos bashing other people's decisions to make a purchase, bashing their brand. If I went and told you that that this brand, Diesel or Rolex, whatever, is a piece of junk and you shouldn't buy it, very rarely do I ever bash a brand. Rolex gets the brunt of any kind of bashing, and it's mainly because I think it's overpriced. That's my opinion. Am I telling you not to buy it? Absolutely not. If you want to buy whatever brand that I may not be into, and that's what ultimately makes you happy, then buy it. Be happy. But don't come back and tell me how I'm wrong in liking what I like, or that this person's wrong, or that that's a piece of crap. Don't get up on your high horse and then start belittling other people. There's lots of great products out there across the board, watches, smart home tech, cars, everything. A person makes a decision to buy something is because they like it. Now, yeah, are there people, you know, that maybe get talked into, let's say you go into a car lot. I only use this example because that's like when we think of salesmen, that's something that we really, you know, like, bam, it's what pops in your mind first. You go into a car lot and you